Welcome to the We Can Do It Women movement, where women 60 and wiser step into the spotlight and make the rest of their lives the best of their lives. I'm your host, Debra Morrison, a wealth building expert and champion for extraordinary women just like you. For over 47 years, I've helped women secure their financial futures, and now I'm on a mission to ignite a revolution, showing the world that at 60, 70, and beyond, we're not slowing down. We're just getting started. And today's We Can Do It Women expert interview features New South Wales of Australia travel influencer, Kathy Marris. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Exactly. Well, we are excited beyond words to speak with you because you have such a interesting, in my opinion, series of talents and skills and experiences with which to enlighten and empower, and I think excite us in relative to the travel world. You are a 60-something-year-old who has been blogging at your website 50, the digits 50, and then shadesofage.com for the past 12 years. You're divorced with 2 adult children, 2 adorable grandchildren, and lives on the Tweed coast of New South Wales, near the Gold Coast. You enjoy living life to the fullest, and you love to keep fit and active by maintaining a healthy diet and exercising regularly. Wow. Tell us what some of the types of exercise you engage in, because we've had a number of people that are engaged in various modes of exercise and movement, and we're interested in exactly what keeps you moving, Kathy.
Okay, well, I'm not into running marathons or doing weight training, but I love walking. I do a lot of walking. I probably would walk almost every day. I do Pilates, and I also play lawn bowls, which is possibly a sport that Americans haven't embraced.
I have it, and I want you to
fun.
tell us about lawn bowls. That is amazing. All right, give us the whole
Well,
I
guess in a way it's a bit like 10 pin bowls, but it's done outdoors on a green, on grass green, and you basically bowl a big bowl, like almost the size of a 10-pin bowl. You bowl it down the grass, and you have to hit a little white ball or get as close as you can to the little white ball. And that's how you score. So it's basically whoever ends up with the highest score wins.
Oh, that's fun. So
it is. It's very good.
So one person rolls the ball, attempts to hit the pin, and then somebody goes and gets the ball on the other team, right? There's some teams, right?
That's right. Yeah, it can be singles, can be pairs, can be a team of 3 or a team of 4. So there's all different teams involved. But it's very social, and it's being out in the great outdoors, I guess. And there's a little bit of skill about it. Got to use your bit of strategy. So it's a fun game. But it is probably a game that's more for the over 60-year-olds. However, younger people are starting to embrace it a little bit now throughout the world. So it's quite popular.
Well, I'm glad to be informed about it. And then let me ask you to define the chronological underpinning behind whether you started blogging first, or were you traveling and then you began to blog around your travel?
Okay, when I first started up 50 Shades of Age, I was probably going through what women of our age go through in their 50s, even 60s, whereby they've become empty nesters. So the kids have blown the nest. I had a part-time job, which I found very boring, and I had started to travel a little bit. My husband and I, at the time, we'd been to Asia a few times, and I think we'd actually been to the States too on a trip. So I really enjoyed traveling. That that was something that I found very interesting. And it was just out of, I think, talking to women of my age, we were all on the same page about being in our 50s, being a little bit bored with our lives. Some of us, I used to play tennis, so we used to go and play tennis weekly, and we'd have these conversations surrounding what it was like being our age and how we started to feel a little bit invisible and a little bit worthless.
Right now.
Most of us. So one day I was sitting at work and I came up with the idea of starting up a blog, and it went from there. And it was going to be a blog for the over 50 woman, and it was going to be about all sorts of subjects that affect us. So, and I got a lot of inspiration from talking to my friends and acquaintances, and just what was the common vibe, I guess, amongst our age group. So that's what inspired me. And then in 2014, my husband and I travelled around Australia in a caravan for 7 months. So we both retired from our jobs, and we went off having an adventure around Australia. And we bought this beautiful DLSR camera, and that instilled in both of us a love of photography. So we went off around Australia and we took all these lovely photos, and then I wrote about our travels as we went and put the photos on the website, on the blog. And so then it kind of evolved from being a blog, a lifestyle blog, I guess you would have called it initially, or personal blog, and it evolved into travel. And now I would describe it as being travel and lifestyle. I do a little bit of both.
And I was going to ask you, what kind of a camera do you shoot with? Because I'm a Nikon gal, and some of my best friends are Canon. What do you carry?
I had a Canon. I haven't got it anymore. This is what I use now. I use my iPhone.
Exactly.
Because it's portable. The other camera was quite big. It was hard to lug around. And it was complicated too. Even though I did do a course and learned how to use it, but I find the iPhone suffices these days.
It's a very curious statement, Kathy, because I mean, I love photography and I've carried a number of cameras over the years. And then, of course, the iPhone came out and it got better and better. And who was I talking with that I think I was at the camera store, and I said some little conversation, and like, what's the best camera? And the guy said, the one in your hand, whatever you have with whatever we have with us. And isn't that a good axiom for life, Kathy? That whatever we have with us, wherever we are, that we embrace it, and it's good. We're good. Our purpose is good. The trick, of course, is to continue to morph into our next chapter. And you've done that so beautifully. So you raised 2 children. You ended up divorcing, and now you are writing on behalf of women. You started at 50 and wiser, I call it 60 and wiser, 50 and wiser. And you are really bringing a sense of adventure into women's lives who would not necessarily see these photographs of these iconic places and these completely magnificent, and you do have some beautiful photographs there. And I think that in and of itself is a great service, Kathy, and I commend you, so that you can tease out of people, hey, this is what's out there. There's more than your environment, than your country. There's more to discover and to live within. And I am just ablaze about my interest in travel and international travel, especially. Australia is still on my bucket list. New Zealand is still on my bucket list.
Oh, yes. You've got to come to Australia.
Too. And when I saw your whole 25 best off-road maybe it's 50 off-road experiences in Australia. Tell us about how did you start out with that in mind? You had that beautiful trailer and it's gorgeous. You guys want to go on the
Yeah.
website and see that. But tell us how you started. Did you just begin to say, okay, we're buying the trailer and then we're going to these off-road locations? Walk us through it.
We always had, you call them a trailer, we call them a caravan.
Yes.
We always had a trailer. We used to take our kids camping. We used to go on adventures with the kids, but we didn't go too far. We'd just go, we would go somewhere maybe within 100 kilometres or 100 of where we live. So we'd just go off on these weekend adventures, and sometimes during school holidays, we'd take the kids away. But we always liked to go to areas or camping spots that were a little bit off the beaten track. We liked the natural surroundings, and we liked being a little bit off-pist, I guess you call it. So when we planned for our holiday going around Australia, we bought a new trailer, and it which had an ensuite. That was a prerequisite. So we bought a lovely little trailer with an ensuite, and we planned where we were going to do, how we were going to do it. And then as we went around on our way, we met other people that were doing the same as us. And everyone you meet will say, you must go see this, you must go here, you must go there. So we'd write it down, and we just went to some amazing places that we didn't even know about. It was just through other people telling us, go and see this. So that's what we did. We kind of found our way around Australia, and it was just superb. It really was. And I'm sure anyone who does the same thing in your country would say the same thing. They would say there's so much out there to see and experience. And that really made me want to tell other people, get out there. You don't actually have to go overseas, really. You can just go within your own country, in your own backyard, and have an adventure. So for those who don't want to, a lot of people don't want to travel overseas. So I always say, well, start in your own backyard. Go to the camping ground 50 miles down the road and try it and see what you think. So, yeah, but I felt it was probably the best experience of my life to have 7 months doing that, although it was a bit testy with my husband, living in the confines of a trailer. Yeah. So we had to negotiate that, but apart from that, it was great. It was best thing I've ever done.
It sounds delicious. Now, there are people that in our audience that don't know what an ensuite is. So tell us about the beauty of having the ensuite.
Oh, sorry. Bathroom. So it's a very small bathroom with a tiny little cubicle for a shower and a basin and a toilet. Yeah. But and of course the toilets are like a capsule thing that you have to empty every few days. Yeah. So but sorry,
I'm talking over you, and I don't mean to. There's a lag because of the country difference. Sorry.
I'm sure there is, yeah.
Go right ahead.
So it's just, well, I felt it was a prerequisite because some of the places we went to didn't have toilet facilities. And so I felt it was necessary. And most people who travel these days do travel with a bathroom. Absolutely. Or with their own bathroom.
Yeah. And you write about wanting to be the voice, and you are the voice for the 50, 60 something year olds to empower and motivate them to travel and see the world. And so your blog was titled Travel Around Australia in 185 Days. Wow. And it's subdivided
Yeah.
into 10 parts. This was an amazing documenting of your sights and sounds and so forth and so on. And I recommend it to anybody. 185 days. So straight. You didn't like come home then for a little while and then go to the other direction. You went whole.
No. Yeah. Yep. And we pretty much circumnavigated Australia. So we did miss out. We didn't go up into the northern part of Queensland
Okay.
because we left that. We thought we would come back. We had a wedding to go to, actually. My niece got married and we wanted to be back for the wedding. So we kind of cut off a little bit of Australia as we returned home. But we did go back up to northern Queensland and do another trip after that. So we have basically seen the majority of Australia. And we went down into what they call the dead centre of Australia as well, coming back. So it was just incredible. And I think for anyone, it's an education. It's an education because, and you go to a town, you pull into a little town and you go, what's here? What's here to do, see? And there's nearly always something. There's nearly always some little, they'll have their own little unique, I don't know, a statue or a building or an interesting history or something. There's always something in each town that's interesting. So that's what I found, that's what really inspired me, because I thought everywhere has its own beauty, whether it's remote and stark and which a lot of Australia is. A lot of Australia is just a lot of scrubland and desert, and but we have some of in my opinion, I think we have some of the world's best beaches. They're absolutely beautiful. We saw a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colour of the water and the colour of this, it contrasts to the beautiful white sand in some areas. The water is like a azure blue or a turquoise blue. It's just, you have to see it against the blue sky. It's all very, very, very photogenic, I guess you would say.
Yes, exactly. And I'm imagining, putting that polarizer lens on or something, or just, darkening it with the iPhone. That sounds so rich. And it was piqued, my curiosity was piqued, like, because you're going into different towns and cities then and so forth and so on. And I sense that you probably got a knack, Kathy, for figuring out, hey, where's the little hole in the wall, right? You wanted to kind of be where the people were in order to get the full flavor of it. What were some tip-offs, if you will? Did you just ask people, hey, where should we go if we want to see this town and the culture of this town?
We avoided a lot of towns. So for most of our trip, we didn't actually stay in many towns. I mean, at certain points we had to. With all of the major cities, we actually bypassed them. We went around them. We didn't go through them. We went around them. So we mainly went to camping areas that were maybe outside of a town or located next to a natural attraction. So located on a river or on a beach or in a canyon somewhere, or that was basically what we did. We didn't really stay in towns at all, apart from a couple. We'd have to sometimes go to a caravan park or an RV park, I guess you would call them. And we'd have to use the laundry facilities and do some laundries and things like that. But apart from that, we were pretty much out roughing it in the wilderness. So it was nice.
Yeah, and I wondered if when you met up with people, because I've been camping with my aunts and uncles and so forth, and you know you run into sometimes people in the same rigs, what we call rigs, like trailers, caravans, and you recognize them and you're like, oh, Bob and Betty, whatever. And did you end up like changing your little routes in order to go to the next
Oh,
location?
yeah,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Tell us
we
about
did.
that.
Yes.
That sounds like a lot.
Well, at the beginning of the trip, we met a couple. We were going across what's called the Nullarbor Plain, which is a long desert. It actually it traverses Australia. So, and it's a long haul. It takes, I think we took 4 days to drive across.
Oh my.
And we were camping on the side of a cliff overlooking the sea. And we ran into a couple. They came over and asked us a question, and we became friends with them. And then they were actually from my hometown where I grew up, and they knew people that I knew.
Oh,
So that was, an instant connection.
yeah.
And then they were more asking us, now, where are you going? What are you doing? And so we kind of hung with them for quite a while, for about a month, and we went to the same places. And then they wanted to go into Perth, which is a big city in Western Australia. So we
Yes.
parted ways, but then we kept running into them as we were going around Australia. And they would say to us, oh, we've just been to this place. Have you been? And we'd say, oh, no, we didn't go there. And so so we kind of worked with one another then, and we would arrange to meet at certain places so we could catch up. And we're still really good friends with those people. So that was 7 years ago, and we're still very good friends with them. And then we met another couple as well, and the same thing. The other couple we met were they've done some incredible adventures. They're just really got out there and got off the beaten track. And we still catch up with them as well. They come up to where we live, and we've caught up with them since our trip as well. So it is like the power of people and what they can advice they can give you is very important when you're traveling around. It certainly helps.
Yes, because the books can say one thing and then you get there, right? And it's somewhat different. And so always it's best to have that word of mouth. I, of course, was curious about some of your favorite places, and I'm not sure if the research that I stumbled upon is reflective of really the truth. So I'm going to say what I found was you found some of your favorite travel destinations: Turkey, Italy, and Australia. Is that true?
They are my top 3. Very
Okay.
good.
Let's talk to us about Turkey because I love Turkey. Go for it.
Oh, Turkey was amazing. Our son and his girlfriend at the time, they were traveling around Europe in a small camper van, or like a transit van, I think it was called. And they had it fitted out with a bed and a little kitchenette. And we organised to meet up with them in Turkey. So we met up with them. Actually, my husband and I stayed in Istanbul, and then we went out to see the Gallipoli attraction, whether you call it an attraction, but anyway, we went out to Gallipoli and we did a tour there, and we then met up with our son and his girlfriend. Excuse me. And then we got in the car with them and we travelled around Turkey with them. So we did, I think, around 2 weeks travelling with them. We went out on a yacht trip and did some of I think they call the Gökçek Islands off the coast of Turkey. And we did this amazing yacht trip. That was fantastic. we went down the coast. My son was into diving. He went diving. He said the diving was amazing. And we went inland to a place called, now this is my 60-something-year-old brain, isn't it? I can't remember the name of the place.
No worries.
So, yeah. So we had a great adventure with our son. And that was very memorable. Turkey was just so culturally different to anywhere that I've been. Yeah, I loved it. I really did. And it was a little bit rough and untrodden in areas as well. So I guess that kind of appealed to me. And the ruins, like there's just ancient Greek and Roman ruins everywhere. So it was an amazing experience.
I had been to Turkey twice, and it was a sleeper, right, country for me, like, because I didn't know so much about it. And I was on one of those cruises. It was a Greece cruise, so it was like, okay, if it's Monday, it's Patmos. If it's Tuesday, it's oh goodness gracious, my mind is gone.
You would have gone to Ephesus, the ruins,
yeah,
the ancient city.
When we're coming in, the ship is coming into Turkey. It was at dawn. And I look out through in the balcony. I didn't think I had a door. I look out and there's just this fog over the landscape. And we're just coming in. And it was the most beautiful thing. And I said to myself, there's some real mystery in this. And I just was completely engaged with it. And then, of course, we went to Ephesus. Well, my mind went completely back to, chariots and, people in the Bible going down these paths and everything. And of course, they were people there with tiny little chisels and little tiny brushes, archaeologists, and they're digging and digging. And then at the bottom, they had the library.
They're still digging.
Oh, they're still digging. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
yeah. They had the
it's
library.
Just so well preserved.
Oh, it's amazing. And so it was absolutely stunning. And then they said, come back. I said, oh, I have to gotta come back with my friends and so forth. And they said, come back in 5 years and this whole hill will be excavated. I thought they were kidding. They were not kidding. I went back in like 6 years and that whole hill was turned into like this visitors center, Kathy. It was amazing.
Okay. Yeah. I was there in 2012, I think.
Okay. I was there before that.
It's probably,
yeah.
So it's probably changed since I've been there too.
It was amazing.
But I found Turkey so interesting.
Oh, yeah. And the leather, oh my heart. Well, it was hotter than blazes, but the leather was so cheap. And so we were buying leather jackets. In the day, it was fanny packs were in. I have like brown leather fanny packs, black leather fanny pack. The leather was just so supple and beautifully stitched and so inexpensive. I am with you. I just say everyone goes like Istanbul. Yeah, Istanbul was interesting. And yet I'm telling you what, I found Ephesus unbelievable. Just saying.
Yes,
so that was
agree.
my experience of Turkey. Now, let's talk about Italy because you have a soft spot in your heart.
Oh my God, Italy. Yeah, I spent a few weeks there. Actually, when it was my 60th birthday, I went on a cruise, but then after the cruise, I spent a couple of weeks in Italy traveling around. And we did Venice, Lake Como, Tuscany, and the Amalfi Coast.
Oh,
yeah. So I was so charmed and entranced by Italy. I'm going back in 2 weeks' time. I'm actually doing a solo trip to Italy. So I am joining a tour for part of it. So I'm doing a tour of Sicily, the island of Sicily initially, and then for the rest of the holiday, which will be pretty close to 4 weeks, I'm doing my own itinerary. So I've planned an itinerary. I'm doing the southern part of Italy, where you know how it's boot-shaped.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Italy's like a boot shape. I'm doing like the bottom of the boot. I have got a girlfriend who's coming over to join me for part of the holiday. So I won't be alone the whole time. So yes, I'm doing that in 2 weeks, which is very exciting.
I would say I'm excited just listening to it. And tell us, because there are people, and I read about you write beautifully about traveling solo. And there's a whole group traveling solo after 60. And so for those in our listening audience, I want you to talk with us about it, because I found that your tips were really good. Like, okay, traveling alone, it kind of sounds a little scary, yet you're in control, right? And so tick off for us the things that you found, like, yeah, I can handle this. And maybe when you first looked at it, you thought, oh gosh, can I handle this?
Yeah, I remember the first time I actually went on a media trip to Japan in
I see that.
2016.
Yes.
And I was like a scared little girl. I was so frightened to travel on my own. I just initially thought of all the things that could go wrong. But nothing went wrong. Everything just worked out beautifully. I was met at the airport by our travel guide, because I was with a group. There was only 4 of us in the group. There was a journalist, a travel agent, another lady like me who had a blog. She was from Sydney. I still have contact with her because she's just written a fabulous book. So we were shown around Italy, but it was scary being on your own and going with a group of strangers. I didn't know what to expect, but that instilled in me this I don't know, the bravado, I guess, the courage to, I can do this. My husband wasn't particularly interested in traveling to some places that I wanted to see. I had like a bucket list of countries that I'd like to go to. And he would say, oh, I don't want to go there. Or he would say, because my ex-husband actually travelled a lot when he was young. He spent 12 months in England and Europe travelling around. So he'd done a lot of Europe. And he used to say, I don't want to go back there. It's too far to go. He was more focused on travelling within Australia, and he also liked travelling in Asia.
Yes.
So after that, I did a few trips to Bali on my own.
Oh, that I want to talk about that.
And I did, yeah, I actually did some women's retreats over there in Bali. They have heaps of them over there that you can do. And then after my marriage went bust, I decided, right, I've got to travel. I have to get out there. My life's not going to stop. I'm going to keep traveling, and I don't care now whether someone will come and do it with me. And all of my friends are married. They're all partnered up. So I do occasionally travel with friends and their hubbies, with their husbands.
Yeah.
But I found I really enjoyed my own company. I enjoyed planning my own trips. I enjoyed doing all the little details to put it together. And then you'd arrive at the destination and you just have this sense of self-satisfaction. And you'd say to yourself, well done, you got here.
That's it.
And you just learn. I just learned as I went. I really did. And if I got into trouble, I'd just go and ask someone. I'd say, oh, look, I'm a bit lost. Where do I find this? Or can you help me? I had trouble. I always put oh, there's thunder here. There's a storm. Sorry. I don't know whether you heard it. I always travel with a SIM card when I go overseas, so that I can have data on my phone. And that's mainly so I can access Google Maps and navigate my way around. And be able to look up things and do my research. And I had trouble at an airport putting my SIM card in. And this lovely, we were standing in a big queue going through immigration.
Yes.
And this lovely, there was an American lady actually, very well-dressed, beautiful-looking lady standing in the queue next to me, and I asked her to help me, and she did. So there's always someone there that will help. And with technology, I normally seek out someone that's a bit younger than me because their technology skills are far superior to mine. So yeah. And then if you're staying at a hotel, you don't know where to go to eat or have a drink or where's safe, you don't know. I ask the concierge at the hotel. I say, okay, I want to go out for dinner. I want to go and have a drink at a nice bar somewhere. I'll say to them, where is close and where is safe? And there's always help at hand. So there's nothing really to fear as long as you're prepared, and you're also prepared to ask questions, and I have my Google Maps. I did Paris. I walked Paris on Google Maps last year because I would have got completely lost otherwise. So I navigated my way to the Louvre, all over the place. Yeah. So I think it's just a matter of biting the bullet and saying, right, if I wait around for a friend or a partner or a travel companion to travel with me, my life's going to be, I'm going to get, I'm going to get sick tomorrow and I won't be able to go. So my philosophy is you do it now, because I'm healthy, I'm still strong, I can still walk. I've still got, pretty much most of my brain. And I just think, yeah, it's the time to do it, because if I leave it any longer, it's not going to happen. And, trying to coordinate people to commit to doing a trip. And like this trip that I'm doing to Italy, I had about 3 friends that wanted to come and they all backed out. They all at the last minute, one said, oh, well, I've got a bad foot, I don't think I can do the walking. And then another one said, oh, yes, who has recently lost her husband, was interested. Then she decided, oh, no, I just want to go and do a cruise. So I had all these people lined up to come with me. And in the end, I thought, stuff it. I'm not going to wait around. I'll just do it by myself. So I think you just have to have that mindset, because like I say, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know whether our health's going to be with us. And I also believe that women of our age, we're probably at the best part of our lives, because a lot of us are financially secure. Yep. And we don't have, well, I don't have a full-time job. So a lot of us have retired and we're not working. So we have the time. And a lot of us, our children have also left home, and we have all this free time. So we should make the most of it.
I couldn't agree more. I want to enlighten our audience about just some of the experiences you've had. In 2016, January, you published your first magazine article in Just Better Living regarding your experience swimming with whale sharks on the Ningaloo Reef. No cage, just swimming with the sharks.
But they're harmless. They're not like your typical shark with big teeth. So they're massive animals, but they're very tame. They actually skim pretty much along the surface of the ocean. Okay. And they take in huge amounts of plankton.
Yes.
From the sea. That's what they feed on. So they kind of have these big mouths and they have them open, and they're just siphoning all this plankton into their bodies. They call them the gentle giants of the sea, and they have a beautiful, their skin is actually patterned, like dotted almost, and they all have their own unique pattern on there, and they're just the most amazing creatures. But when you first jump in the water with them, and you snorkel, so you're on the surface and you swim alongside them as they're feeding, and initially it's scary. You see this huge creature emerging and you go, ah, but
especially when its mouth is open.
Yes. You keep away from the mouth and you keep away from the tail.
Yes.
I think we had to maintain a distance of 5 meters. I'm not sure what would that be in yards, but you're not right next to them. There's a lot of rules and regulations regarding swimming with them. So that's what you do. And it was just the most incredible experience. And on that particular day, we swam with 5 different whale sharks. We were in and out of the water the whole time. And you would be in the water for maybe 10 minutes each time, swimming alongside them. And it was incredible. It was one of those, once again, someone had said to me, if you go to the Ningaloo Reef, you must do this. So it was on the list.
On your bucket list. Well, that's very helpful. That's very helpful. And you've been like so many places. So do you dive? Because I'm a diver, and that's part of the, I want to dive the Great Barrier Reef before it doesn't have any more color.
Oh, yes.
So your son dove in Turkey. What did he think diving in Turkey versus diving in the Great Barrier Reef?
Oh, I think the Great Barrier Reef is probably better.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
There's a lot more coral and marine life, I think, in the Australian waters. The Great Barrier Reef is massive. It covers such a huge distance, and a lot of it hasn't even really been discovered. Like, people haven't, because it's so massive. And it is amazing. I was up in Cairns 2 years ago, and we went out on a boat, and I don't personally scuba dive. My ex-husband did, but I just do snorkeling, which I love.
Yeah, I love it too. Yeah. Now, you've written blog articles, Kathy, for just dozens. You were a regular contributor in 2016 to Visit Gold Coast website. You published articles on Japan National Tourism Organization website, regular contributor to the Discover Ipswich website. 2020, you write a chapter in the northern coast of New South Wales for the Big Lap Bible book. And now you're contributing to their website. Talk to us about that. What's that about?
It's a publication. A young couple put it together, and they got contributors from all around Australia, people that had travelled. And they approached me and asked me whether I would write a chapter about my area, my region, where I live. So, there were guidelines, parameters for how I had to write about it. So it was quite easy. It was an easy job.
Okay.
So, I have a chapter in that book.
Yes.
I think they keep updating it. It's actually a very good guidebook if someone's going to come to Australia. It gives great information and insight and tells you where to go, what to see. It has like little sections which will say, where is the best spot to see a sunrise or a sunset? Or where is the best spot, camping spot in that region? Where are your favourite camping spots? So it gives a lot of great information.
Right. And that's called, just for our audience, Big Lap, LAP, Bible book. All right, so look that up. And then you did podcasts called Tips for Solo Women When Traveling in 2023, June. So that's been really recent. Is that ongoing, Kathy? Can you tell us what you're still contributing to on a regular basis? We'll research you as I've done, and we'll continue to do so, because it's very interesting. Right. Well,
I've done a few interviews. I've talked about caravanning on a radio station, a local radio station. That was many years ago. I've done a couple of podcasts. I've recently done one with a lady who you've interviewed called Sue from Women Over 50 Living Well.
Yes,
she's
Sue,
another Australian lady.
Laconic.
Do you remember Sue Loncharik? I think her surname is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I've done a podcast with her. I actually spoke about midlife marriage breakdown with her. Yeah, we went into that because she'd also been through a similar experience. So I did a podcast with her about that. But yeah, apart from that, podcasting, I think, is probably people, I know I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love them. And I think a lot of people are heading more towards podcasts than actually reading blogs.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Possibly the way that blogging is going. It's more about doing podcasts these days.
Yes, because I'd read a bunch of your tips and so forth for bloggers trying to monetize their blogs, and you're talking about, it's a little bit of a hurdle to monetize it. You're needing to get 2 to 3 emails a day asking for sponsored posts, but then nobody wants to pay for it. And then you're talking about a good following. I think that's really key on your SEO, and then seek out the sponsors. So did you then find that you would gather 1 or 2 sponsors, and then they would keep sponsoring for a season, or did you see some turnover in that, and how was that?
I guess the best sponsored job that I got was working for a cruise line. I did a series of blogs for their website, not for mine, but for their website. So this all happened because of my blog.
I'm sorry, Victoria Cruise Lines?
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
It was. Yep, exactly. So I did a series of blogs for them a few years back, and that was very lucrative. Then it was ongoing work. So if you can get something like that, it's great. But I also did a stint working for a copywriting company in Melbourne who they're about ecotourism, and I did a series of articles for them at different locations in Australia. So I've always, because of my blog, I've got outside work. So I don't necessarily always write on my own website. I do writing for other websites at times. So this year I did an article about solo travel for a travel insurance company.
Nice.
And that was through my daughter's friend, who is a journalist, and she said, "Hey, Kathy, will you write an article for me?" And she said, "This is what I want it to be about. It's got to be so many words. Can you provide a few photos?" Yes, so I did that. So that's where most of my work has come from, not so much my website, although I do a few sponsored guest posts, which are paid for. A lot of places now do link insertions, so they will put a paragraph into an existing blog post and a link to their website if it's relevant to the article. And I get paid for that. And that's a very easy job for me.
Okay.
But apart from that, it has led to a lot of great things for me, having the website and the blog. It has opened a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities. I've had a couple of great trips and weekends away. I did a balloon flight,
Oh,
hot air balloon
hot
flight
air
too.
balloon. Oh, tell us about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that was incredible too. Yeah. So that was out at a place called Ipswich, which is west of Brisbane.
Okay.
And we got up before dawn and got into the balloon. We were actually with a TV crew. They were filming for like an outdoors lifestyle TV program. So we were actually part of the TV program. I didn't know about that till we got there, but it was wonderful. It was a great experience. Yeah. It's just being up there and and the sun's coming up and you just it's a bird's eye view of everything, and you just float gently over the landscape, and then when you land, there's a bit of a thud when you come in for landing, but it wasn't scary. I thought it would be a bit scary, but it wasn't. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I've loved it. I've done it 5 maybe times, and I've gone both at sunrise and at sunset. Now, I'll just give you a little tip if you engage in this again, or someone else does it. Generally, you're not the only balloon that goes up. There's a couple that go up at a time. Okay, so we go to the a place in Sedona, and of course, who doesn't want a hot air balloon over Sedona? And there were 2 balloons. And one was a little bit faded, and one looked like they'd taken the balloon out of the package. It was brilliant, right? And like my friends started being attracted to getting into the brilliant one. I go, you guys, if you want to be in that, you can, but I'm coming into the other one because I'm photographing the brilliant one. And it was such a good
that's
choice.
very smart.
I have beautiful pictures, and they're, over there, thinking they're pretty, and they are, but they're getting photographs of a faded balloon. I was so proud of myself. And of course, everybody with us, then wanted pictures of my pictures, copies of my pictures, and so on. But you are exactly right. And the last time I went, I took a friend of mine who was also a client, and he was very, very ill. He was actually dying of AIDS, and he was just like a rail. And I said, have you ever seen Sedona? And he said, no. And I literally said to him, you can't die without seeing Sedona and the Grand Canyon. And I took him there.
Wow.
And so like I looked around, and there was like a larger woman and man, and I thought to myself, oh my God, if they're in our basket and they fall on my friend, he could die. And so I was like, oh my God. So the people were, just organizing the weight, and I wasn't going to jack around with that because that's important. But when we started to come down, like you're saying, it's not fast and it's not that scary, but you are just landing, right? And I tell you what, with all of my might, I locked my elbows, and I had him in the corner, and I was like this around him, and they came flying into me, and I was able to hold that so that he wasn't touched. But I'm telling you, it's scary.
Well, you do land with a bit of a thud.
Yeah. And you're lucky if you land standing up, because we were a little bit out.
That's right. And you have to brace, don't you? I'm just trying to remember it now. But I was in Melbourne recently. I went to the Australian Open tennis in Melbourne, and I went on my own. I just thought, I'm going to go to the tennis. So I went to Melbourne, and the day I was leaving, I had to get up early. I was up at sunrise. And as I looked out of my hotel window, here were hot air balloons, and they were soaring across Melbourne City. And I photographed them. I was just blown away. They just looked so pretty, and they were floating across with the city in the background and the sun rising. And that was an incredible experience to see that. It was, and I photographed it. I thought, yes. I woke up at the right time.
Exactly. Yes, I've gone to a little festival here that's actually pretty big for New Jersey, but it's not as big as some of them in Arizona, which are 2 places in the States. And I have some beautiful photographs of other balloons and so forth, and it was lovely. But something about getting up before all the traffic, and you're looking down and you're seeing such a peaceful setting, and it's gorgeous. Oh, I'm all with you right there. Now, Tell us
Yeah.
how our viewing audience can get in touch with you, Kathy. Like somebody wants to have you plan a trip for them, or they want to know, pick your brain about this part of Ipswich or that part of South Wales. New South Wales. Talk to us about how people can best reach you, please.
Okay. They can always email me. So my email is Kathy Marris with a K, kathymarris@gmail.com. They can reach out to me via Instagram. So I have an Instagram account, and I also have a Facebook page of the same name. Everything's in the same name. They can always message me via those two, those social media apps, or by email. I'm happy to answer any questions. I have actually had a few Americans contact me previously to ask me about coming to Australia and asking my advice where they should go. So I have done that previously. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I'm likely to ping you when I get over there, so before I get over there. So
Please do.
I would be delighted to do that. I thank you so much for sharing your experiences. You do. I mean, I saw it written all over your voice is so true on, and it's just not just anything. It is beautiful in conveying to people that haven't had your experiences. Hey, come on in. The water's fine, right? Hey, go ahead and explore on your own because to your point, we women do tend to ask each other, hey, what's a good restaurant? Who knows a good, psychologist? Who knows a good, childcare? And let's just be on our own and ask in a different city. And
Yeah.
especially if we're staying at a hotel, the concierge has every responsibility to protect us, if you will. So really, it's like most things I think in life, Kathy, our fear is bigger than the actual impediments once we
It
start
is.
moving, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And my advice is when you can get out there and be on your own and plan and prepare your own trip, wherever it may be. It could be just like I say, in your own backyard. And you arrive at your destination, and it's one of the most liberating and reinvigorating experiences, because you go, yeah, I've done it. And I always feel empowered and I feel brave. I think I'm a brave person. I've done this and I can do it. I can find my way around Paris. I can work out the train schedules, and I can get on this train, and I've never missed a train. I've always been able to get to the train station and get on the train. So it's not really that difficult. You can do
Well,
anything if you put your mind to it.
when we put our mind to it. I thank you so much for joining us, Kathy. This has been rich for me. So much enjoyed it, and I hope people have been taking notes or listen to the replay. Thank you for joining us on the We Can Do It Women show. Remember, I see you, women. I value you. And your greatest chapter is just beginning. If today's episode sparked something in you, I invite you to go ahead and join our Facebook community, We Can Do It Women, via the link in the description below. And we are talking about travel today with Kathy. And I want to remind you that we are going to Agen, France for our retreat, October 25 through November 1st. It's a Saturday to a Saturday. Of course, some of us will put something on the fore of it, Paris or something else, and some of us will put something on the aft of it. But this is going to be epic. It's on the website, We Can Do It Women /retreat, or wecandoitwomen.com/retreat. It is in a friend of mine's French chateau, which she bought 2 years ago and renovated. We have a personal chef who makes meals every day, farm to table, and she brings in sommeliers for local wines. This is an epic trip. We did it last year, and it's going to be a little different in some respects, but a lot of the same tenets of being in that beautiful chateau, being in the environment in the south of France, Agen, and having meals each day by a chef that is trained under 3 Michelin chefs and a sommelier. This is epic. So join us on that. And
Sounds divine.
What's that?
Sounds divine. Can I come?
I'm sending it right to you, girlfriend. You know I am. So I really invite each of you to take a look at that because retreating is so valuable. I hope you've gleaned that from Kathy's adventures. Retreating is coming home to ourselves, and it's a beautiful experience to be in a different environment and see the beauty and eat well and have massages, which we did. So let's tune in to ourselves and expect and plan on retreating October 25th through November 1st. Be there, and I am going to be eager to welcome you. So until next time, pay attention to your money, and it will surely pay you back. Thank you so much.